Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. Who is the leader in the SEC and how many teams get in to the college football playoff? What are you thinking, Derek? What are you thinking?
I think somebody needs to uh, uh, understand it ain't gonna be six teams
I didn't say it was going to
because
be six teams.
that's gonna be half the field, and I think you got a better chance of getting five teams if some things play out the right way. But it's more likely four teams. I think it's gonna be you got Texas. Um, Here's the thing: it's either Texas or Texas A&M. If Texas makes it, Texas A&M doesn't. Obviously,
Right.
if Tennessee and Georgia. Tennessee's only lost one,
Yeah. They'll get in with two
so
losses because they beat Bama.
so if they lose to Georgia, they're getting in. But if they beat Georgia, they're in the SEC
Georgia's not
championship,
getting in.
and
Georgia won't get
Georgia's
in with
out.
three losses. Yeah. Georgia's out if
Yeah,
they
they're out.
lose. Both of them are still in if Georgia wins.
Yeah, I think it could be Texas or Texas A&M, Tennessee, maybe Georgia. If it, well, it'd be Georgia, maybe not Georgia. It'll be Tennessee. Let's see who's another one. I think LSU,
Alabama.
maybe Alabama. Yeah, that might be it too.
LSU can't.
So,
They have three losses.
oh yeah, you're right. So no, LSU can't. I don't know who the fourth person would be besides Alabama.
Um,
Ole Miss.
and Ole Miss, and then A&M would get in if they beat Texas.
Yeah, that's what I said. But I'm going to go off the prediction that Texas wins. And I'm
Okay.
going to go off the prediction of Georgia wins. So it'd be Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ole Miss,
Okay.
Alabama, and Tennessee barely stinks in. I think no. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
Alabama,
Tennessee
Ole
barely gets
Miss.
in.
Are you taking Georgia?
Georgia gets in
Okay. So
if Georgia beats.
Alabama. So Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee.
Yeah, well, if Georgia beats Tennessee, it's
That's
gonna be.
five. So you're
I
taking
know,
five.
but listen, no. If Georgia beats Tennessee, it's gonna be Georgia. It's gonna be Texas. It's gonna be if Texas beats A&M. I'm going off that. It's gonna be Georgia. It's gonna be Texas. It's gonna be Alabama. It's gonna be Ole Miss, and Tennessee is gonna be out unless they're like a wild card that
Yeah.
could be out or in. So
So does Texas get in if they lose to A&M?
no, they don't.
Really? I'm surprised I got you to admit that.
Yeah, I'm starting to look at this schedule more and more, and I don't see them getting in. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
really think they're winning out.
And A&M will get in with a win over Texas.
Yes, it will. They will get in with the win over Texas, unless something happens over there in the Big Ten, and if you like Indiana loses twice, and not going to see five teams
Yeah.
getting into the championship.
So who right now is the most feared team in the SEC, would you say? Like, I don't want to play that team next week.
If I had to look at last week,
Hmm.
and then we'll take two perspectives. Last week, just going off of last week,
Yeah.
and seeing how teams played, most feared team would have to be Ole Miss.
Yeah.
For the whole season, the most feared team would have to be Georgia.
Hmm. So I was gonna do two, and they're tied. I think Alabama and Ole Miss. I think both of those are scary teams to play right now. Alabama seems to be getting better and better, and they took care. They blanked Missouri, and then they go into Baton Rouge and just hammer them, 42-13. Um, yeah, I mean Alabama looks pretty. They look pretty good too, and Ole Miss is just like, man, where was this early in the season? They're really turning it around, and then South Carolina, man, like what has happened to them? They look really good, and they're not going to get in the playoff. Like they can't, even if they win out, you can't put them
I think
in.
South Carolina. I mean,
Like what
did they
happens
lose?
if they?
Did they lose last week?
No, they beat Vanderbilt 28-7 at Vandy. Took care of Pavia. They're going to play
Mm.
Missouri this weekend. If they destroy Missouri and then destroy Clemson at the end of the year, like dang. It's like, man, if they had just started out a little bit better and not dropped some of those games early on, they would be in the playoff and they would probably give some teams a scare. This could just be a couple weeks that they're just popping on teams' radar, but man, that defense is scary, man. Um,
You know, yeah, you also got to understand, are they playing? They're just playing really hot right now, and later on they're just going to play mediocre
maybe
again.
right, and they could have just popped some of these teams that just were overlooking them. Maybe A&M just overlooked them. Maybe Vanderbilt, overlooked them a little bit, like or South Carolina just had more talent to not overlook Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is
Hmm.
kind of falling back to reality because teams aren't they're taking them serious again. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean the SEC, man. You can look at all these losses and you can say, man, everybody in the SEC sucks. No, I think it's because the playing field is leveled, and I'd be concerned to play any of these teams in the SEC right now,
I just don't.
ex-
Well, here's the
except for
thing.
Missouri.
No, no. There was a good point brought up from one of these ESPN podcasts
Hmm.
saying who have they play outside the SEC, and they haven't really played anybody but Clemson, and Clemson's not all out to be good as we thought they were. So there's a lot of saying until maybe the
Right.
playoffs start, we won't
But
find out if the
that
SEC is that great.
that's every conference at this point of the season, though.
Not
Nobody
not
in
with
the until the end of the year. So Florida will be playing Florida State. Um, Not that that's saying much. South
Notre Dame, Texas
Carolina,
A&M,
South Carolina is playing Clemson. Um,
USC beat LSU.
yeah, but that's the beginning of the year. I'm talking about this point of the year. This point of the year, this is whenever
Oh,
you see is a team legit. So let's
you're not
let's
seeing what
let's
I just said. I
what
said out of conference. Those happen in the beginning of the year.
I know. I'm saying yeah, I know. But I'm saying it should. What happens at the beginning of the year doesn't matter. South Carolina sucked at the beginning of the year. Um,
That's not
Ole
on the mind of
Miss
the playoff committee.
Ole Miss sucked at the beginning of the year.
No,
Now
they
look
were
at Ole Miss.
dominating.
Oh no, 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 no. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky.
They beat the crap out of all the good all
Ole
their
Miss
out of
lost Kentucky in like week 5. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So like, here's the thing: is you can't really tell. That's the thing is no conference has out of conference games this late unless it's the last game of the season. So we can look forward to some. So like for example, South Carolina is going to be playing Clemson. If South Carolina dominates Clemson, that tells you all you need to know about the SEC compared to the ACC. Um,
Hmm.
and then let's see, Georgia will play Georgia Tech. So another ACC
Oh man,
team, SEC ACC matchup. Um, let's see here. Vanderbilt and Tennessee play each other, so that's SEC. A&M and Texas, SEC. Florida State. Auburn, Alabama. Okay, so what about Kentucky? Kentucky plays Louisville. That will be interesting. So we won't really get those matchups until the end of the year with the SEC versus it's really the ACC. It seems to be what it is, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like the Big Ten isn't doing that either. Ohio State's not playing any big time out of conference games right now.
Only
So
team that did was USC.
yeah,
USC's getting beat.
yeah, I know. But again, like the beginning of the season, it doesn't hold a lot. At the beginning of the season, Florida State was number 5. Just
Hmm.
nobody knows what you're at the beginning of the season. Nobody knows how good everybody is. And some of these teams, they'll start out really slow and then they'll get hot towards the end of the year, and that's when you don't want to play them. And Ole Miss is one of those teams that at the beginning of the year, they didn't really look all that good. They lost some SEC games early, and now they look scary good. Um, yeah, but we'll just have to see what happens like in the playoff and the end of the schedule. But that's a good point. I think that there's a fair chance, man, that 5 teams in the SEC go 10-2. Um, it
Not Texas.
uh, so here's the thing: is okay, then it would be 4 teams go 10-2, and one is would be 10-1 or 11-1, which would be Texas. Um, but so it would be 4 teams, one would be 11-1. And then, or the other scenario would be 6 SEC teams with 10-2 if A&M beats Texas.
Hmm. Well, you want to have a one loss team overall going into the SEC championship
Right,
because,
and that would only be Texas.
yep,
Oh,
gotta keep it that way.
Tennessee could do it. Could do it. Probably not, but they could.
Not, yeah.
We'll just have to see, man. This is getting really interesting. I'm really excited to see what unfolds. It starts with the Tennessee Georgia game. That'll you know that'll set the stage. That'll set the stage of now we're gonna add to the number of 10-2 teams, and then Alabama's got to keep winning, and then Missouri might be interesting. I think South Carolina is gonna obliterate them, but that they are at the possibility of going 10-2. I don't think that they will, but they are still in that possibility. But in Texas and Texas A&M, man, that'll be a battle for a playoff spot, like you said. The winner will be getting into the playoffs. So that'll be pretty much the play-in game, right? That'll be the
Mm.
play-in game to the playoffs. So, all
All
right,
right.
you ready to close this one down?
Yeah, let's close it.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to this channel. Derek and I work hard on these videos. We love college football. We love talking college football, and we love making ridiculous takes. So if you enjoy content like this, please comment down below and check out more of our videos. We'll see you in the next segment.